Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop and the Kai one. They're calling it the Kai one, which I think is really good because you don't really, if you're Anta, you don't really want to get your shoe or product mixed up with another shoe, you know what I mean, which is Nike, the Nike Kyrie 1, Kyrie 2. You don't want to confuse the consumer either, so I feel like changing up the name to Kai is pretty dang sick. But the Kai 1 has officially been unveiled by Anta, which is pretty dang sick, and it's releasing March 6th for 125 bucks, which I think is a pretty dang good price because the Kyries did go up in price to 140 bucks, so 125 is pretty dang good. But the earlier Kyries actually retailed for 110 bucks. But yeah, since Kyrie and Nike kind of had their little thing and Nike kind of like ghosted Kyrie, he joined Anta, and yeah, the Kyrie shoe line from Nike was absolutely amazing. It was iconic. It was super popular as well. I've seen so many Kyries on the court, you know what I mean? The most popular shoe line I feel like in the past 10 years, you know what I mean, aside from Kobe's. But yeah, I kind of wanted to reminisce and see the Kyrie line. Which shoe is my favorite, you know what I mean? Reminisce on some colorways. What's the best looking Kyrie in my personal opinion? What are the best cushioning setups? What's the best performers? So we'll talk about all of that in this video. But of course, I have the Kyrie 1, the Nike Kyrie 1 right over here, right? So the Nike Kyrie 1 debuted December 24th of 2014, guys. You guys remember 2014? That's a long time ago. And it retailed for 110 bucks in the Dream colorway. So a lot of people got it right before Christmas. So I don't really have a lot of grails, like a shoe that I really want, right? But a shoe that I really want is the Kyrie 1 Dream colorway. You know what I mean? I'm so sad I don't have a pair in my collection. But anyways, the Kyrie 1. So the Kyrie 1 came out. Of course, Leo Chang was the lead designer of the Kyrie 1. It was an amazing design. This shoe looks absolutely amazing. This is my Nike ID colorway. I don't know if you guys remember Nike IDs. But yeah, it says Nike ID here in the, I don't know if you guys can see, but yeah, it says Nike ID for the actual insole. But yeah, the teeth design here in the outsole was inspired by the Sydney Opera House, which is pretty dang sick. It also says JBY here, right? So I used to say that in his earlier models. It stands for Just Be You, and it also shows the birth and death date of Kyrie's mother, right over here. On the outsole, we have this hyperfused material, which isn't the best, but it wasn't terrible either. And also we have a 4-foot zoom unit, which you couldn't really feel at all. And also the heel counter here for the Kyrie 1, which is also iconic for the design. It was inspired by Kyrie's love for luxury fashion, so yeah, how's the performance of the Kyrie 1? Not great, you know what I mean? The traction also wasn't amazing. I experienced a little bit of, it wasn't heel slippage, but my heel didn't feel super or completely locked down in the shoe either. And it's just weird because you have this crazy aggressive herringbone, you know what I mean? But even with this pattern, it was a little bit of a dust magnet and wasn't the best performer on dust. But yeah, amazing looking shoe and one of my favorites as far as looks goes, but one of my least favorites as far as performance goes in Kyrie's Nike shoe line, right? And as far as my favorite colorways go for the Kyrie 1, you guys remember the double nickel colorway or the opening night colorway? Kyrie dropped 55 points in that shoe. Also, of course, the Dream colorway, the BHM colorway was also really sick. And of course, you can't forget the Uncle Drew colorway. Man, the Kyrie 1 was so amazing, right? But of course, let's move on to the Kyrie 2s, right? The Kyrie 2s, I got my Nike IDs right over here. It's black with the gold swoosh and strap. You guys remember that? It says LAX here as well. Same thing with this shoe, right? But the Kyrie 2 came out December 15th of 2015 in the Effect colorway for $120. You know what I mean? So they immediately increased the price by 10 bucks. But yeah, my favorite part about this shoe is definitely the traction. Like, we have this pivot circle, right? And because of this shape, it lets you pivot on your forefoot very easily. And also, this was when they introduced the outsole curvature, and this shoe has one of the craziest outsole curvatures, so it kind of keeps you on the balls of your feet. It feels really nice. So yeah, this is GOAT traction. This is GOAT level traction right over here. I really miss this pattern. I wish somebody would do something like this again, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite parts about this shoe. But like, of course, the cushion is absolutely terrible. You know what I mean? You have no compression. This Phylon is super duper stiff. We have a heel zoom unit, which you can't really feel either. We have Kyrie Irving's logo here in the heel. And of course, we have this midfoot strap that kind of like wraps around all the way here into the heel with this swoosh right over here, right? But yeah, this shoe is one of my favorite performers in Kyrie's entire shoe line because of the amazing traction. It's just, I definitely wish the cushion was a lot better here in the Kyrie 2s, you know what I mean? Of course, we have pretty much the same exact like hyperfused material, which is pretty dang stiff. But yeah, I also love how the Kyrie 2s look, you know what I mean? But as far as my favorite colorways, I love the Kyrachi colorway and also the Kyrispy Cream colorway. You guys remember that? But I feel like, you know, these two, as far as my Nike IDs go, look really, really good as well. And of course, let's move on to the Kyrie 3. Of course, I have the Tiffany blue colorway, I guess, if you want to call it that. But the Kyrie 3 debuted December 26th of 2016 for $120 in the black ice colorway. You guys remember that? But yeah, this shoe is also same thing as the Kyrie 2. The traction is absolutely amazing. The heel zoom kind of sucks. You can't feel it. You have really no compression in the heels. The cushion sucks. But yeah, we have these two pods. You guys remember the pods here? And the traction is really, really nice. Amazing stops. But also you have this crazy outsole curvature. That's one of my favorite features of Kyrie's earlier shoes in his shoe line, right? But yeah, crappy cushion, and of course we have a very stiff mesh material as well as I believe this was like Curim or something like that, right? With this plastic kind of like over this material, and also we have this band that goes over the forefoot here with the fly wire that kind of gives you better lockdown in the forefoot as well. But yeah, as far as my favorite colorways go, of course we have this colorway. I really, really like this colorway. Also, the Sneaker Room collab, you know, the mom colorway was absolutely amazing as well. And of course, you can't forget the Samurai colorway and also the Bruce Lee colorway. But yeah, I definitely do wish I had those. But yeah, the Kyrie 3, as far as looks go, it looks amazing, but also performance-wise, it's definitely up there. But I definitely feel like I like the Kyrie 2s better, especially with the pivot circle, right? So there's the Kyrie 3. Next, of course, we got the Kyrie 4. The Kyrie 4 was absolutely amazing as well. It came out December 16th of 2017 for $120 and released in the confetti colorway. If you guys remember the confetti colorways, because Kyrie lost in the finals the year prior, and he took the confetti, you know, from the confetti falling down in the finals and kept it, you know, in his pocket or something, and that's how the colorway, or that's what it was inspired by, right? But yeah, I have the 80s colorway from the Decades pack right here. It is dead stock, and yeah, we have this zigzag line over here, and with this pattern, it was, you know, designed for better grip for extreme angles, you know what I mean? But yeah, we have a pretty crazy traction pattern. Also, I really like the outsole curvature as well in this shoe, and this is the last shoe with a very, very crazy, very prominent outsole curvature. But yeah, the Kyrie 4 was absolutely amazing. The traction was amazing as well. Once you broke it in, you know, when you first got it, it was sliding around a little bit, but once you kind of removed the nubs, it got really good. And also, this is one of the first Kyries with actually decent cushion. You know, we have cush line here, which allows for a little bit of compression here in the heel. We also have a heel zoom unit, which you can't really feel either. And this mesh material also is pretty dang nice. I believe it was an EM. But yeah, it's very, very soft. It's also pretty dang light, you know what I mean, for Kyrie. So as far as the weight goes, this shoe comes in at 12.6 ounces, which is average weight. But to compare, the Kyrie 2s are a little bit heavier at 13 ounces. But as far as the Kyrie 3s go, the Kyrie 3s, I believe, were like, oh, it's a little bit lighter, 12.05 ounces. So yeah, the Kyrie 4 was an absolutely amazing performer. And my favorite colorways of the Kyrie 4 were the red carpet, this colorway, and also the all-star colorway, you know, with kind of like that tie-dye pattern on it. So there, and also Kyrie had some crazy PEs for the Kyrie 4. You guys remember that? But anyways, let's move on to the Kyrie 5. And the Kyrie 5 was actually kind of heavy, or like a little bit more stiff feeling, you know what I mean? So as far as the weight goes, it's not super heavy, however. It's coming at 12.85 ounces, but it just felt a little bit stiffer because of the Zoom Turbo unit, right? So because of the Zoom Turbo unit, it's a little bit less flexible in the forefoot comparing to all of his other shoes, right? This is a little bit more flexible. Same thing with the 3s as well. Look at that. But anyways, the Kyrie 5 is the first time they introduced Zoom Turbo, right? It came out November 22nd of 2018 for 130 bucks. So they did increase the price, and it came out in the black ice colorway. You guys remember that colorway? But yeah, this is my Nike ID that I did. Not a huge fan of it. Yeah, it looks kind of weird. But of course, the most striking feature about this shoe is the fly trap strap here in the midfoot. So we have this kind of like strap that goes from the medial side all the way into the lateral side. And then we have the fly wire, right? So we have fly wire that's attached to the side of the shoe, and also fly wire that's attached to the actual strap. And then also the laces go through it. So once you tighten the laces, it kind of tightens the fly trap strap over your midfoot, which was pretty dang sick. The traction overall was pretty dang good as well. I mean, all Kyries in his entire shoe line, all of them were very, very good. But I would say the Kyrie 5 was definitely the worst. You know what I mean? It wasn't amazing for traction. You had to break it in as well. But anyways, also not a crazy amount of outsole curvature. You know what I mean? If you look at it, it kind of it rounds definitely, but it's not as rounded as the other shoes, right? The earlier shoes. So that's also where they started to make the outsole curvature a little bit less rounded, which I don't like. And of course, we have like an EM material, like this mesh material. And this is kind of where Kyrie started putting a lot of eyeballs, the all-seeing eye or whatever. I believe he had it in the Kyrie 4s as well, but it was a little bit more hidden, you know? It was inside of the tongue, if I remember. Yeah, it was inside of the tongue, but in the 5, he just put it on the outside of the shoe. He's like, here, you know? And my favorite colorways of the Kyrie 5 were the Iket colorway, you know, which looked absolutely amazing. And also the Chaos colorway that was inspired by the Kobe 5 Joker or Chaos colorway. All right, moving on to the next shoe, of course, we got the Kyrie 6, right? So this shoe is really nice, but it was just a little bit bulky and also a little bit heavy for me, right? So if I remember correctly, this was a little bit heavier than normal, right? 13.45 ounces. That's nowhere near super heavy, especially comparing to Adidas shoes nowadays, which are like 15.5 ounces. But comparing to some of the other shoes in his line, like the Kyrie 3, that was like 12 ounces, it's a little bit heavier, you know? There's a lot of padding here in the ankle area, which I did like. It was super cozy, but it just made the shoe overall feel a little bit bulkier, you know? But yeah, the Kyrie 6, we had this 360-degree traction pattern is what they called it, right? And the Kyrie 6 released November 11th of 2019 in the preheat pack. You guys remember that? But that was kind of like a more of a limited drop. And then of course they had the jet black that released November 22nd of 2019 for 130 bucks, right? But yeah, of course, same thing as the Kyrie 5, we have the Zoom Turbo unit, which is the articulated zoom unit that kind of encompasses the entire forefoot. Also, we have this midfoot strap, which was useless, didn't really do anything. We have the eyeball thing here. We have the Roman numeral 6 here. But yeah, doesn't really improve lockdown that much. But yeah, the traction was really, really good, especially once you broke it in. Zoom Turbo unit was really, really nice. And there seemed to be a little bit more compression here in the heel comparing to the Kyrie 5, you know what I mean? So the Kyrie 6 was a really, really nice shoe, you know? The Kyrie 5 is kind of like on the bottom end of things for me as far as performance goes, but the Kyrie 6 is definitely up there for me, you know? Of course, we have this crazy external heel counter as well, right? So there's the Kyrie 6. Moving on to the next shoe, of course, we got the Kyrie 7. Y'all remember this colorway? I did this with the Nike ID. I love how this shoe looks. But yeah, the Kyrie 7 released November 10th of 2020 in the creators colorway for 130 bucks. And yeah, of course, it's pretty much the exact same as far as tech goes from the Kyrie 5 to the Kyrie 7. We have a Zoom Turbo unit. It says Nike Zoom Turbo right over here. We have these fingers as well, these TPU wings, these TPU fingers that are supposed to improve lockdown. Doesn't really, I don't think it helps that much, but we have the softest material in his entire shoe line. I mean, this mesh material is really thin, also very, very soft. I guess Kyrie 4 is really nice as well, but all of his other shoes have been pretty dang stiff. But yeah, the Kyrie 7 was really, really nice. One of my favorites out of the Kyrie 5, 6, and 7 because it's way lighter and way more minimal feeling than the Kyrie 6, right? It's 12.2 ounces, but traction is just as good. And also we have the Zoom Turbo unit in the forefoot. Mesh material is a lot thinner. So that's why I like the Kyrie 7 a little bit more than the Kyrie 6. But it's still like it's like the overall feeling of the shoe and design is very, very similar, right? But my favorite colorways of the Kyrie 7, I mean, the Kyrie 7 had some heat as far as general release colorways go. But yeah, of course, we have the Weatherman colorway, which is absolutely amazing, as well as the alternate Weatherman colorway. I definitely wish I copped, you know what I mean? The red colorway was pretty dang clean, and also the white, black, and gold one was also, I think that was a rings colorway, you know, that colorway looked absolutely amazing as well. So there's the Kyrie 7. Of course, we have the infamous Kyrie Infinity. So everyone thought this was gonna be the Kyrie 8, but it was not. And also this was a shoe that Kyrie trashed. He was like, this shoe is trash on Instagram. And that's when Nike and Kyrie kind of started having problems, I guess, right? But of course, we have this very aggressive traction pattern, and this is also when they introduced the Zoom Strobel unit in the forefoot, which I think is a little bit too crazy. I don't like Zoom Strobel units in the forefoot. First of all, it's not articulated, so it feels a little unstable. Comparing it to like full-length Zoom Strobel units, right? Full-length Zoom Strobel units are articulated, which makes it feel a little bit more stable, right? But yeah, it just encompasses the entire forefoot. It has a lot of bounce and stuff like that. And it's like the bounciest cushioning setup in Kyrie's entire shoe line. And also we have this mesh material, and also the Infinity is one of the loosest fitting Kyries in this entire shoe line. But just like in like the Kyrie 6 or like all of his other shoes, there's a lot of padding here in the back of the shoe, like for the tongue and also here in the ankle area. And there's also obviously this mid-cut design. And also as far as lockdown goes, we had this kind of like strap thing going on, which I thought was really cool when I saw the leaked images, but it's actually not connected. You know what I mean? As far as these leather straps go. But yeah, the Kyrie Infinity, the traction was okay. I definitely feel like it's not top performance. You know what I mean? Top performance in the Kyrie shoe line is like the Kyrie 7, Kyrie 6, 2, 3, 4, you know. But Infinity, once you broke it in, got pretty dang good, but not amazing, right? So there is the Kyrie Infinity. Also, this is my ID pair. This is, I try to emulate like the Grinch colorway, which I think it turned out pretty good, right? And the Kyrie Infinity came out February 2nd of 2022 in the Fire and Ice colorway for 130 bucks, right? But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of any of the general release colorways in this shoe. So there's that. And of course, last but not least, or maybe least, is the Kyrie 8, the actual Kyrie 8, you know, so it is kind of confusing. I don't know why they did that, but also Nike canceled the release of this shoe pretty much, right? They released a couple of colorways and they're like, nah, you know. But yeah, this shoe came out November 24th of 2022 for $140. You know, they increased the price. Of course, we have this crazy, I believe this was called the smear traction or something like that, you know. But we have this crazy deep grooves, and it's just traction wasn't amazing though, you know what I mean? It wasn't absolutely amazing. Also, look at how flat it is. You know what I mean? This shoe is super duper flat. The Kyrie Infinity is flat. You know, the Kyrie 7 is pretty flat as well. You guys see that? It's very, very flat. But if you look at the Kyrie 2, it's very, very rounded in shape, which honestly I did like, you know, like in the Kyrie 2s, the 3s, the 4s. But anyways, we also have a Zoom Strobel unit here in the forefoot, which, like I just said, I don't really like all too much. The heel compression was actually kind of nice though, you know, and the material quality is not great. You have this plastic material, it's kind of flimsy feeling, you know, especially for $140 and comparing it to the Infinity. So yeah, definitely not my favorite either, you know what I mean? As far as like favorite performers go, I definitely, you know, the Kyrie 2. The Kyrie 2 is definitely one of my favorites. Even though the cushion is not nice, the traction is so good, support's great, lockdown's great. I love the outsole curvature and pivot circle in the outsole. That's why I love playing this shoe. Same thing, the Kyrie 3 I really like as well, and the Kyrie 4, you know. But if I had to pick, I definitely say my favorite is the Kyrie 2. And then in his like kind of later shoe line, the Kyrie 7 is definitely my favorite. The Kyrie 7, and then below that is the Kyrie 6, right? So these 5 are definitely my favorites. These 5 right here, the 2, 3, 4, 7, and 6, you know? So that's performance. And as far as looks go, like I said, the Kyrie 1 looks the best in my personal opinion. And then of course, the Kyrie 4 I would say looks great. The Kyrie 7, and also the Kyrie 2. But of course, you can't really forget the Kyrie Hybrid S1. Kyrie Hybrid S1? Kyrie S1 hybrid or something like that. Yeah, I don't know why they had such a long name, but this was a combination of the Kyrie 1, 2, and 3. You can see the Kyrie 1 heel counter, Kyrie 1 outsole, you know, Kyrie 2 strap, Kyrie 3 materials, you know, which I wasn't a huge fan of this shoe performance-wise. Because, you know, traction's not great, you know, cushion's not great, but of course you can't forget about the Hybrid S2. They changed up the name, and yeah, this is a combination of the 4, 5, and 6, right? So we have the 4 outsole and also midsole, and then we have the Kyrie 5 flight trap. But anyways, this shoe was absolutely amazing as well. It looks amazing too. So anyways, I'm very sad that we'll never get Kyries, Nike Kyries anymore, but I look forward to the Anta Kyries. You know, Anta makes some amazing shoes, and I really like what they're doing with the Kai ones because it is a low top shoe. And if you look at all of Kyrie's shoe from Nike, they're all mid cuts. You know, obviously he had another line, the Kyrie low line, and also the fly traps, but his main signature shoe, they were pretty much all mid tops, right? But anyways, if you've played in any of Kyrie's Nike shoes, tell us what your favorites are as far as performance goes down in the comment section below. But also, what are your favorites aesthetically? But that about wraps up this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.